This is Justin AMZN on Tuesday, November 4th, 2018. November. No. December 4th, 2018. December, definitely December. Anyway, so today we pretty much are having some pre-market action in the same range that we were yesterday. Not really any sort of gap. So I'm going to just sketch this back in and we'll let's see, something like that. So we're right at the low end of that. Let's extend this. So this is our setup for extend to the right. There we go. Okay. This is our setup. This is where we're at. It's pretty much flat. I don't think I drew that exactly flat. That's a little better. Okay. So we're right at the low. So I'm going to zoom in to just this. And step into the day. So right off the bat, get kind of a high wave candle, right off, bouncing right off the low. Looks like it's moving up, just like it tried to do yesterday here, and then it did it here. So it's starting to move up, hold back, squeeze forming. Now this is something similar to yesterday where we came down to the line here, broke down, and then recovered. And that's what we do today. And, just like yesterday, either get in right here off of the low or wait for another pullback to it. And we get close, get pretty much at 1760 here, right at 1760. And then move up a little bit, indecision, bearish engulfing candle with a large upper wick right at this high. So this is not going up as high as it did yesterday. It's kind of staying right in this range, and we're clearly below yesterday's close. So yesterday was a bullish candle, high wave bullish candle. And like I said, that wick I wasn't so sure of. It's still on here, so I guess we'll kind of consider it. But the gap that we had today opened down here, which means we actually have a bearish gap and go, even though it's not really clearing this range, but it's still gapping down from yesterday. So anyway, it's trying to get up here, trying to get up to the highs that it was at yesterday, but it's not really doing so well. It's going sideways. Indecision candle here. So this is a nice series of candles for about 25 minutes. Really small candle here. Moves back up, is this a shaved top? The high and the close. That's a shaved top. Interesting. And then this is high and the open are close, but there's a little tiny wick there. But let's see. So the highs of these two are 3 cents apart. So this is really close to a tweezer top. You get a third candle that comes back up almost to that level, but stays slightly below it at 1766. Then very next candle, so if you were going bearish just based on these two candles, you may have been triggered in by this wick or possibly triggered in by this candle. That comes down and touches almost to 1760 again, squeeze still forming. Now we've got an inside candle still above that line. Really small candle. We had some small candles in the same range yesterday, like this one and this one. This one's bearish, so maybe it looks a little more like this one right here. Yep, probably like that one with the 5 exponential below the 21. It's kind of where we're at here. Next candle just moves back down a little bit. Nothing really special about it. Just we really had just this kind of down slope here, kind of similar to this. We're just going a little steeper, selling off a little bit, maybe this, one of those, just pushing back into this line. And then a very small hammer with a lower wick. Another one that's a little, well, not another one, sorry. A long lower wick again, but indecision candle right on this line. And right now, we haven't really done too much to get going bullish here. We had a couple candles like this yesterday right off this line. So, it could be doing this and then we'll move up. And, so far it's just a retrace, or it's just a consolidation from yesterday's range. So we're into this, yesterday was 6.5 hours. Now we're into this another hour, just sideways still. So with this candle, there's a couple things you can do. You can get in bullish above, with either a move or a close above this level or a breakdown below it. Just based on this indecision, what we saw yesterday, had somebody set it up to go bearish here, probably would have been triggered in and then stopped out pretty quickly. Or if you were going bullish, would have been triggered in bullish here, stopped down here, and would have been triggered in after this. And then that retraced and then bounced. Maybe you made it to like an hour and a half going bullish. Well, today, if we set up that kind of entry, we immediately break down. So we've actually got a close below these two candles, these two lower wicks. So this is not holding. Now, we broke through that once, twice, 3 times technically from where I drew this line yesterday. We kind of did it a little bit pre-market, did it once here. Here's a second time. Squeeze still forming. Now this, we actually have a candle down here, not touching this line, which we did technically have here, but I mean, I can move this line ever so slightly down. Now it's touching it. But anyway, this is a little bit of a retracement, trying to come back up here. It does actually come back up with this wick right back into this line. And we're, kind of, the only time we had an upper wick was right here. And then we did actually move quickly higher. So the only thing we could do here is really, we got to bounce now if we're going to bounce. Otherwise, really could just roll over here. And we start to do that. Come down into our line at 1747, 1747.18. Come down to that line. We dance around that. Oops, sorry, went one candle too far. We dance in that line for 25 minutes. 25 minutes looking like we're going to do something, but we've already taken out the low of the day. We've already, kind of taken out yesterday's low if you ignore this. But if, still we're way down low in yesterday's range if you count it. I'm going to get rid of this now because, well, you know what? You already saw the next 5-minute line. So, man, it doesn't look as nice without that. Sometimes it's nice to just draw these in and see how it plays out. It never got up here. Did it twice yesterday, tried another time. Even if I drop this like this, I'm touching the lows, touching the highs, we get into it here. We didn't even get back up to it a third time, or once, twice, 3 times, 4 times yesterday. That was it. That was the highest we got. Didn't even get back up there today. So that's kind of your first couple bearish signals. Makes this sort of look like a double top with a really funky right side here. But just kind of some indecision playing out. Like if you kind of merge a couple of these candles together, they look like really large indecision candles that get smaller and smaller into some smaller indecision candles. So we get into some stair step and consolidate, and then finally we get this one that ends up breaking down. So right here, this is the last resort. We got to get going above this wick. We got to get there now. But this wick is just a retracement of this lower wick. So right now you can be setting up a trade to go bearish below it or to go bullish above it. And your stops opposite, obviously. And so the very next candle, we break down. So you should be in. We can look at what the options are doing in here, getting this set up. But this didn't give you a false trigger. This didn't give you a false trigger. This was a really nice stair step. 25 minutes just waiting here on our line. We've had this line in here. We can look back at the daily. I don't remember how long, but looking back at how things played out today, just amazing how it stayed right in here on this line and then just collapsed. So very quickly, so 25 minutes here and then 25 minutes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 25 minutes here. We've dropped 40, 50, somewhere in there. 40 to 50 bucks. So that's what happens when you have such a long consolidation, a breakdown, a pause, letting all the bulls get out and all the bears get in, and then just collapses. And we get a close here right around our 1714.15 price. Couldn't have asked for a better target for that one. This one, we had to close really close to it. even though we were kind of pausing here, I don't expect it to stop here. I mean, we had, I don't want to say a day and a half, but we had a day and a quarter maybe in this range. And now we're just collapsing. This is, this gap up yesterday was a um, bullish retest gap. This is some of the retracement, some of the retest. It doesn't have to be done. That squeeze had fired back in here. I didn't even talk about that. Squeeze had fired here. Give you a great opportunity to get in anywhere in here. Even if you would set up something to get in here with a stop way up here, you're already at 2R probably, something like that. It continues. There was a long lower wick down. The low here is 1696. And this is a nice hammer. It's a nice hammer. It should come up a little bit. Should at least get back up to 1714.50. Almost gets there, touches the 5. Hasn't done it in a little while. Okay, there we go. We're right back up here. It's got there's bulls thinking, okay, that's it. We shouldn't go down any further. It's a nice retracement. I'm getting in here, got into the 1600s. I talked about getting into the low 1600s. We're not quite that low, but a nice retracement. It needed to rest a little bit. So, this isn't necessarily where to pile on bearish. I mean, it went 25 minutes sideways here. It went 15 minutes back up. That's not enough time. But some people are going in bearish right there, and starts to roll over, and it actually does push down quite a bit. So I didn't think that was enough time. It was. Makes kind of a little bit of a wedge here, or not a wedge, triangle here, and then some small candles, breaks down here, breaks these lows, tries to recover, can't do it, inside candle, and then a breakdown again. So that was the only touch back up to that line. And then we get a push lower. Now the next line is 1665, which I talked about yesterday. Don't quite get down that far. We're just above that. And it starts to bounce and get some bullish candles. And then it comes right back up to this same area that it had kind of retested this triangle. Doesn't even come back up to 1714.50. It gets up here and starts to roll over again. Comes up a little bit closer. We're almost there. We should get there, right? Nope. Inside candle again. Breakdown again. So evening star reversal. Second evening star reversal. I'm sure there were plenty of bulls wanting it to get a little higher. More bulls getting on here thinking, oh, it broke out bullish. This is the false breakout right here. Anybody who should have been getting in down in here when it got so low, they're the ones waiting for that confirmation. They were the ones piling on right here saying, okay, it's finally made a higher high. I can get in. And then it doesn't, and it starts to roll over. So we've got some nice higher lows, some relative highs. We're still below 1714.50, and it actually just starts to collapse again. So, we had this first retracement and, kind of S curve here, and we just have a bigger one like this, and then a roll back over, and very quickly lose all of that bullish momentum we had gained. And now we're almost into the 1665 down here. Let's see, 1665.27 is what we're looking for. So we're 13 cents away there. We aren't quite there yet. There. Then we end the day. 43. Okay. We're 13 cents away there, and we're 16 cents away there from our line. And then there we go, 1665 after hours. We touched it, got to the line. So this is where we've been hovering after hours. But I mean, just look at it. It looks like a total plateau here, the way that this played out. I mean, this section here, look at that. It's not quite a day. Well, yeah, it's about a day and a quarter, maybe a day and a third up in this range. Phenomenal. So it's easier to see now, looking at it like this, that we paused right there. So this low was 1696. That was the high we had touched right in here. 1696 was the high here, and then really, really close right here. And so that's why I believe we paused right at this level on our first breakdown, recovered with that hammer, came back up to the line, and then collapsed down here. And then I don't know why it paused here and didn't go all the way down. Probably just so many bears thinking, oh, it's just going to get there, and so many bulls thinking, I'm going to buy, right when it gets there, and then some missing. But people just getting out on its way down. So let's zoom in on just today and jump over to well, actually, let me show you the daily. So here's the bearish gap and go. Gap down. This played out as a nice resistance. We're back down here. It's that simple. Let's say the low in this candle was 1666.50. So we're actually below that low. So we've come back. We retested this gap. That gap has filled. So right now it's kind of opposite of this. Like I was just talking about, this being a bit of a head with a high wave candle here, sort of a high wave candle here, bullish candle coming in, bearish candle going down. This is starting to look more like inverted head and shoulders. That's what I think is going to happen. It could come all the way down to the 1400s again. Just after today, kind of this being retraced. I'm not saying it's going to. It's at a great level right here to bounce. That's a great place to bounce. It's filled that. The market's closed tomorrow, like I said, so we don't see what's going to happen tomorrow, but there may be some other things that happen around the world that when our markets open back up on Thursday, there'll be something to move it. So I don't expect it to open flat right here. I expect it to be in one of these no man's land and continue in that direction for a day or two. And then let's jump over to so this is the calls. The calls we're just trying to, so this is the 1800 calls we've been looking at. Probably helps if we look at the previous day. So this is that's where we're at. So this downtrend just kind of continued downtrending. And the lower highs and lower lows for both of them. So if we take a look at the puts now, this is the 1700 puts we were talking about yesterday that did this, just chopped around, then lost that premium from the $5 range, and then today they came all the way down to 290 and just continue to make lower lows from yesterday on the 5-minute. Just this downtrend just continuing, and then get a bit of a consolidation. Anywhere in here would have been a great place to get in, like 4x3, something like that. That would have, after the 290, or just getting in at 350 by 250, something like that. But if you waited till this breakdown happened, maybe it waited till it made a new low. So that's the 850 candle, and then this candle gets below it ever so slightly at 1025. So after 1025, you're looking for an entry. So let's see. So here's 1025 right here. This is the high, the 850. So we're looking for a place to get in at like 550 by like 350. So that's $200 range. So probably wouldn't have gotten that set up, but if you waited for it to clear that and a stop, that's reasonable below it. So wait for it to clear that, get a pullback, and do like 5x4. Some round numbers, maybe not exactly. So it came back to the 5 here, and then stayed above it. So if you had it set up 5x4, maybe it didn't fill. If you had it set up 550 by 450, that would have worked. And then it just continues on up. And this is one of those, as it's breaking down from this, it already showed it's breaking down. It consolidated, rested, let everyone get in. This is the kind of trade you just hold. And this one, if you had held, I'm going to say 5x4 because it's easier to just do the numbers. Yeah, that was the initial move. When I saw that, I'm like, oh my gosh, it would have been so easy to buy 5x4 or 6x5 or something like that. And it, 5x4 moved up to 25 easily, almost made it to 30. So let's say, on that long lower wick, you're expecting it to get down to that 1665 price. It doesn't, or no, not that one, not yet. This one. You wanted to touch 1700. It touches 1700. It probably did that right around like 26. Maybe you got a target at 25. As it's doing this, you're like, oh man, I can get out of 25. I can get 20R. That's a 20R move in 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, no, you would have gotten in like here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 50 minutes. In under an hour, 20R. And we talked about it pulling back. I don't think I talked about it pausing or anything on these lines. I wanted it to touch this line yesterday, like really. And it, I wanted to get down and touch that line. That was a great place to be buying yesterday. But seeing it come into that, taking out the low of the day, seeing it come into this like this, and I'm pausing here, like some people are going to want to go bullish there. But this is starting to show a breakdown. And I probably would have been buying puts in here, like right off of this, and then had a stop somewhere up here. But I didn't do any of that today, which is not cool because I did not get to watch the market so much today. So made that quick move, pulled back. This is the pullback into the 1715 price, and then it has a nice consolidation here. And this kind of consolidation, right now we're looking at the 1700 put. We can take a look at like the 1650 put to see what happened at the same time. So this is the 12 o'clock, start of the 12 o'clock hour. So look at that. Continued up. This is that next wick. Retraced, and it's going to come right back in to these lows pretty much because it's trying to get back closer to that 1700 price or to the 1714 price. It can't quite get there. But pretty wide range. So I don't expect the 1700 put to be traded in here. This option to be traded in here, unless you got a really, really large R, or at least, I guess, not really, really large, maybe $500 R, maybe $1,000 R. But looking at $100 R, it's too difficult to do that kind of trade. Anyway, it continues on up, and we end the day really close to. So the 1700 put, we're pretty much maxing that out because we ended at the low of the day on the stock and a high of the day on the option. So had you waited for that initial stair step, that would have been like in here. What time was that? This one ended about 11 o'clock. So about 11 o'clock is right here. Nothing's really happening in here. You could have been getting in this. You could have almost done absolute zero with $100 R. $100 R. You could have during the first hour of the day. Could have just bought for $1 and see what happened, and it made it to 20. So that would have been 19R gain had you gotten out at the high. But anyway, even if you had waited for this breakdown on the stock and a rally on the option, and then this pause, this consolidation in here, you get some smaller candles that are like $1 range. So this one is 57 cents. This one's $1, $1.13, 66 cents, 75. So anywhere in here, you could have been pretty much just waiting for it to get above, maybe do 8x7. That worked. Would have been close. Or just going off of the low, or waiting for, after that happens, waiting for it to come back into 1714.50 and getting something set up, looking for a little more of a pullback Some smaller candles here. So this is, way out of the money, 1650 at this point, and even here, because we're way up above 1700. But these would have worked, and these would have been some smaller values, some smaller ranges to get in on. The other one you could have looked at is 1675, which, because we were so close, has a little bit more volume, but still the volume's really low. It was horrible here. Got a little better, but I mean, there's 39 options traded there. There's 69 here. 69 is the most today in that 5-minute period. So, it's possible it's really spready. So I would have gone with like the 1650, just because even though it's spready, I'm better off just doing like absolute zero, where you're risking the whole amount. And you could have just done $100, maybe $200 here. And then when it gets in here, because it consolidated for so long, you kind of get a nice range for it to break out, and then hope that you got filled. It's possible it wouldn't have done that. Wouldn't have filled. So anyway, zoom back out like this. We spent a lot of today in this no man's land. It'd be nice if we did that a little bit more of that, kind of retrace back up to this level and then broke down and continued on lower. But yeah, an amazing move today. Really wish I had been trading it. So talked for the daily, talked for the 5-minute, and we'll really see what we end up doing. So totally possible to continue on taking out some of these lows on Thursday. So I won't have a video for tomorrow. For Wednesday, we'll pick back up on Thursday and see how this week plays out. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Just AMZN. Thanks.